big of a threat truly are the Eagles to Skip's Cowboys?
A 2. Skip, and I will concede this to you. They have a very nice roster. I like the A.J. Brown acquisition. I like pairing him with Devontae Smith. I like Dallas Goedert. I like the rebuilt offensive line that if they can stay healthy. Great, tremendous. Kelsey comes back. Lane Johnson, the left tackle, played tremendous last year. Miles Sanders. Yeah. Skip, I like what they have offensively. They built a nice roster, but you know it doesn't matter. Because Cleveland had a nice roster for years. And what is the most important position? Skip Bayless has beat me over my head for 6 years that, Shannon, if you don't have a quarterback, it does not matter how good or complete your roster is. And I think that is the deficiency of this Eagles football team. I think because the Cowboys, Dak Prescott, is a better quarterback than Jalen Hurts, I don't care about the roster with the Eagles. And I do believe they have a roster that's better because I don't believe the Cowboys got better in free agency. I don't believe they got better in the draft. The Eagles got better in free agency with the pieces that they already had. So for me, it's still a 2 because of the quarterback position. The inability to consistently and accurately throw the football is something that Jalen Hurts doesn't possess quite yet. Not to say that he won't, but if you look at it, he got replaced. Think about the talent that he had in Alabama. He had 4 guys that got drafted in the first round. He had running backs that got drafted. He had an offensive line. Go back and look at the offensive linemen that blocked for Jalen Hurts. They were all in the first or second round draft picks, every single one of them. And he got replaced. Why? Because he had accuracy issues. If you look at his numbers, Jalen Hurts was 19th in QBR. Skip, and you said he was behind Tua. You got little to no respect for Tua. He was behind Kirk Cousins, first cousin. You got no respect for him. He was behind Jimmy G. He was behind Walk Into Him. Let that sink in for a second. His QBR was behind guys that Skip Bayless have little to no respect from. He went 0-6 against playoff teams last year, and his QBR in those games, 55, slightly above average. A 10, that's way below average. 50, 0 to 100, that's how they measure QBR. 39, 46, 49, and 20. He had one game in which he was above average in QBR against playoff teams, but he went 0-6 in those ball games. His ability to throw the football down the field. 26 in completion percentage. The only 3 guys he was ahead of last year in completion percentage, Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, and the 3 rookies of qualifying throwers. I don't care nothing about that roster. The guy that's throwing the football, if he's not consistent and accurate, I don't care. You could have Jerry Rice, you could have Rob Gronkowski, you can put whoever you want, put Randy Moss on the other side, whoever you want. You better give him somebody that can throw that football accurately and consistently.
I will open my remarks by quoting Pro Football Focus's capsule on the Eagles. Jalen Hurts showed real signs of progress in his second season out of Oklahoma last year as he finished the season ranked 14th of the 32 qualifying quarterbacks in overall Pro Football Focus grade. 14th of 32 is real progress. He did not play well against Tom Brady and company at Tampa in the playoff game. But guess what, ladies and gentlemen? They did make the playoffs with Jalen Hurts at quarterback last year. And I've told you before, he is Tebow-esque. He's a better thrower overall than Tim Tebow ever thought about being. He has Tebow-esque intangibles of leadership, gamesmanship, just flat-out balling, playmaking. He is the leader that Carson Wentz only dreamt about being when he was drafted by the Philadelphia Eagles, or maybe that they dreamed about him being for the Eagles.
Right.
So in the end, he is the man in this franchise. He is the one they all follow. And when you load up with this much talent around him on both sides of the ball, and I remind you that they just flat out stole Jordan Davis to me and then Nakobe Dean in the draft, they'll plug both of them in and they will be starters and playmakers for that defense.
I love Hargrove, the D tackle that they got. They still have Fletcher Cox, who's on the limit.
Hassan Reddick. Can get after the passes.
Darius Sled, the secondary.
They did, and Bradbury they signed from the Giants.
Don't know what he has left, but we'll find out.
But he was a Pro Bowler just 2 years ago, right? And they brought back Derek Barnett, and they brought back Fletcher Cox, and they brought back Boston Scott, and it's a loaded roster. I get it, why they're ranked 7th overall.
Yes.
So back to Jen's question, threat scale, 1 to 10, I've got them at a 9. They scare me to death.
You should go to a
because
10.
I respect Jalen Hurts. And I remind you, once he got pushed out the back door at Alabama, he wound up with old stinking Lincoln Riley at the University of Oklahoma. And guess what happened? He had only one receiver. They didn't have anything else but C.D. Lamb. And what did he do? He finished second in the Heisman.
They don't play no defense in the Big 12.
In the Heisman.
You know they don't play no defense in the Big 12, Skip. Everybody be throwing the ball all over the place. Right. That's why you see 5 and 6 and 700, 800-yard passing games in that conference. But in the SEC, where them boy dogs reside, how did he do? Throwing the football.
Okay, so Miles Sanders gets a little carried away, and he says it feels like we're on an all-star team. But I get where he's going.
You remember last time the guy said that? You remember that time, right? Hey, what did he say? We're all-star team, right? How'd that work out for him?
Okay, but that was different. That was all free agent signings, where it was like a collection, and I didn't like any of them, to tell you the truth. and I like Nnamdi Asomugha off the field. We used to have him on First Take all the time. But I'm like, you gave him that much money? Because I just couldn't see it. I couldn't see him changing life in Philadelphia. He had a couple of decent years in Oakland, but he wasn't that dude. Right?
But I mean, he struck lottery. He might have not struck lottery on the field, but off the field, he did all right.
I get it. I second your emotion. I second your emotion. But the point was, they did get A.J. Brown, who tried to calm down Miles Sanders by saying, hey, we got to take it a week at a time here. We could be an all-star team, but we got to go earn being an all-star team. And I appreciate that.
That's leadership.
Okay.
He gets it.
Definitely leadership. But now back to my Dallas Cowboys. Their losses this offseason are far more notable than their additions.
Correct.
That's what horrifies me. There's still sort of the core and guts of a decent team left. But when I start looking at, you lost Randy Gregory to your Denver Broncos. I still don't quite understand why that happened, but it did. You lost Amari Cooper. I do understand why that happened. You lost Keanu Neal. You lost Cedric Wilson. You lost Lyle Collins. You lost Kazee. You even lost Greg Zuerlein. Our kicker is now Jonathan Garibay, undrafted out of Texas Tech, a raw rookie who did make 15 of 16 field goals last year for Texas Tech with a long of 62. At Lubbock, I bet the wind was blowing 75 miles an hour, right? Out there in West Texas. Okay, so my point is, we even have an untested field goal kicker, and 4 or 5 games are going to come down to his magic foot, right? Okay, so they kept Dorrance Armstrong and Jaron Curse, and then they added Dante Fowler and James Washington. Really? Okay, well, and I know. You draft Tyler Smith, and maybe he'll plug right in there at left guard. Maybe he'll be better than Mel Kiper thought that he was going to be, right? Maybe that Jalen Tolbert, who says he's going to help change the culture coming out of South Alabama. Maybe he will help change the culture. But he's going to have to contribute early on, because Michael Gallup's going to be gone for X number of games as he comes off his ACL, right? Okay, so now it's down to my quarterback with 6-pack abs. I loved what I see, but as you say, that matters not. It just matters not, because Tom Brady's had
They got no abs.
He's got no abs. He might have a few now. I don't know. But the point is, can my quarterback take it up a level from last year when he made $75 million and just crumbled down the stretch of the season? I hope so. Will Zeke, on a do-or-die year, actually, where you're on your last hurrah, actually?
Yeah, because he has no more guaranteed money. No money that's due to him. Skip, I don't think you and I are disagreeing that we think the Eagles roster is better than the Cowboys.
It just is. And I give you quarterback, but, man, it's like the margin was going like this all year long. Dak was way up here to start with, and then Jalen Hurts started getting a little better and a little better and a little better, and all of a sudden it gets to be about right there. And then the Eagles make the playoffs. You don't think that created momentum in that franchise?
You've been out on Dak ever since the Thanksgiving Day game. The Kansas City game.
Oh, Lord.
You really was out on Dak. Those 2 games. There were a couple of others.
How about your Broncos?
Oh, yeah. So
30-0 going to the fourth quarter. How could you do that?
There were 3 games in which you kind of soured on Dak.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you like, okay, I don't know if Skip. No, the gap is still fairly large between Dak Prescott and Jalen Hurts.
Okay. So, look, in the end, they put up phenomenal offensive numbers last year. And they actually They led the league well. They also I'm doing the flip side.
Yeah.
They led the league in takeaways last year.
Yes.
So their plus minus, their turnover ratio was tied for the top.
So in other words, to make a long story short, when you possess that kind of offense and you take the ball away, you should have been better than what you actually were.
Way better, and that's why for a while I'm saying Super Bowl, here we come. but in the end, all of a sudden I say Eagles, here they come.
No.
Huh? Two?
Yes.
Okay, well, you're trying to undercut what you think is some narrative, so I'll build in some excuse.
No.
Watch what look what we did to the Eagles.
You got to show me. Show me. Jalen Hurts, if Jalen Hurts comes out this year and throws the ball with consistency and accuracy, I got no problem coming out here and saying, man, I was wrong. I misjudged this kid. This kid has shown me something this year, and I see the improvement. Okay. But until then, no.
However far intangibles will take an NFL quarterback, he'll go that far because he's got high intangibles. He's got leadership and playmaking intangibles.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm not denying that.
It's not pure thrower intangibles.
But that's
better thrower than Tebow was.
Yeah.
But not a great thrower. Never said that. No Pro Bowls in the future. I don't see a Pro Bowl.
But if you look at it, Skip, the game's going to come down. They're going to come down to a point in game. You're going to have to make throws. We saw it in the Super Bowl, and it was Matthew Stafford making a no-look. It came down to in both championship games. The quarterback made plays. You look at the throw that Joe Burrow started making. Mahomes didn't make those throws. Burrow did. There will come times, teams, because you're not going to always win by 14 points or be up to 17, 21 points going into the fourth quarter. It's going to be a nip-and-tuck ball game. And the difference in you winning and losing that ball game, Skip, is a third down completion, a second down completion. Can Jalen Hurts consistently do that on a level that what we think top-tier quarterbacks should be able to do?
All right. The answer to that question from my side of the desk is I hope you're right. I hope he fails miserably because he scares me to death. No, I'm serious. I just have respect for him. And it's not an Oklahoma thing. I was forced to watch him because he was my quarterback at Oklahoma. And one night at Baylor, go back and pull that tape, if you will. I think it went overtime. They were way down, and he made throw after throw after throw. And obviously, he can mix in some runs where they say pound for pound, he's the strongest guy in the weight room.
Yeah.
He is hard to get on the ground.
Yes.
And he has like an easy sort of...
Yeah, he's like a glider.
He's a glider where you underestimate his speed because he hits top speed so quickly, he doesn't look like he's trying very hard, and all of a sudden he's past you. Well, he's just what the doctor ordered for that franchise. The day he was drafted, you can go back and look at my tweet in the moment. I said Jalen Hurts will wind up being a better quarterback than Carson Wentz in the National Football League. I didn't know for sure it was going to be in Philadelphia, and lo and behold, Carson Wentz is now on his third team from that moment on, right? So, again, Jalen Hurts is everything that Carson Wentz never was for this franchise. Is Carson Wentz more talented, more gifted, more prototypically talented than Jalen? Sure he is, because what is he, 6'5",
6'5", 240.
Okay, there you go. Okay, well, Jalen's not that guy, but he can play up to that kind of standards with his intangibles.
Right.
So they scare me to death, and I don't blame Miles Sanders for saying it's feeling like an all-star team.
No.
Okay.
Because nothing feels good in the offseason because you ain't done anything. Where do you get them pads on? You get some preseason. You get see yourself against other people that's trying to make a squad also, and then you see if you still feel that way.
He can play little Miles Sanders.
Yeah, we stay on the field.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here to get the latest from the show, and be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few other segments from our other shows on FS1.